from the Ticats Audio Network. This is Ticats Today with Louie B.
Yes, it's a very special Ticats Today Free Agency special, and I couldn't do it just on my own, so I'm very pleased to be joined by Courtney Stephen, former Ticat, now with the Ticats in the offices. And Court, it's free agency, man. It's like it's day one really of the 2022 CFL season. I can see the excitement. I can feel the excitement, man. Like, you love this stuff, don't you?
You got to, man, because if you're a CFL fan, this is like the second best holiday in the CFL, right? Next to the actual, Grey Cup, the big game. Man, free agency is a time when a lot of those movers and shakers are changing spots, rotating. You get to see the rival become your new favorite superhero. So, man, you got to love free agency. And the Ticats have been getting a little bit busy so far. So it'll be cool to dive into that.
Yeah, we're going to be joined by Sean Thomas-Erlington. Jumal Rolle will be stopping by, and we're going to be speaking with Coach Butler. I don't know when Butts retired, but I mean, 2018. I think you, Jumal, and Butts, were you guys all on the same in the same DB room? It just feels like it's a 2018 Ticats reunion over here.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we sat next to each other too, man. These are my guys. I've seen all of our careers continue to progress. Some of us in different directions, but all around the same organization. It's exciting to hear about the promotion of Coach Butler. That's something that was definitely earned, not given. He's been putting his nose to grindstone in this league for years. So it's a credit to him and his hard work and all that he's done. But Jumal Rolle, another exciting guy to watch play.
Yeah, Jumal, the fact that he's back. And let's talk about the Ticats re-signings, because I had been saying it throughout last week that if you had looked at these guys who have been picked up by or re-signed by the Ticats, if another team had made those moves, like if another team had gone out and got Dane, Simone, Dylan, Jumal, Tunde, like we'd be talking about, man, that team loaded up. Because they're coming back, it's not really the same. But I mean, the Ticats certainly taking care of business before today to put themselves in a good spot. And
it's a very huge blessing. I don't know how else to say it. It's a blessing when you're re-signing guys of that caliber, right? They've been successful to some degree over the last couple of years. And when you're that close, you don't have to clear house and start from the ground up. There's just some fine tuning that you have to do. And part of that process of building a championship team or a championship caliber team is having that foundation. And a lot of those core guys that you mentioned, they've got the experience of going deep into the playoffs. They've got the experience of those rivalry games. And it's important to have those guys on your roster and build around them. So Ticats definitely thinking long-term with these pickups.
Well, I was just about to ask, because Court, you were sold on the Ticats in 2019. And I have to think that the pitch in 2019 was similar to the one they gave, 2020, when you came back, when you re-signed with the Ticats in free agency in 2020. And you were sold on what they were selling. What was that pitch like? And how similar do you think it is for Coach O and Ed Irvey trying to sell the Ticats this season?
Well, it depends where you're at in your career, and it depends where you're at in potential to play on a team and where you can contribute, right? I think the huge thing that you'll ask any of these guys is the culture here. The culture and the opportunity to be successful on the team level. Those are two things that guys really want. You want a chance to get a sniff of that ring. And if you're in a room that has the right people, that's the first ingredient, right? And that's from the top down, from the management, from the personnel department, from the ownership. So I think that's something that people hear about, but then they want a chance to get involved in it. So that brings a lot of guys to the hammer. Then once you get in that locker room, great guys all around, guys who come to work every single day, makes it easy for you to also come to work.
All right, we're going to be looking at different position groups throughout the show here, but right now let's get into it with our first guest who signed yesterday, Sean Thomas-Erlington. Very pleased to be joined by him. Well, Ticats have certainly been busy the last few weeks, and just yesterday getting the backfield done by signing Sean Thomas-Erlington and Malik Irons. I'm very pleased now to be joined by STE himself. And STE, congratulations on the new contract. Take us through what this process was like for you getting so close to free agency.
Hey, Louie. Obviously, it was a very exciting moment. I mean, like we talked a bit before, for me, it was free agency, or being near free agency was pretty new for me in the sense where I used to My last 2 times that I signed with the Ticats, well, it was way before free agency. So this was a little new, exploring, getting some information, teams talking to my agent, and then him repeating what they were telling him. And in a sense, we're like, there was a lot of teams here and there asking about me, just like, it was nice. It was interesting, very interesting. Sorry.
So how'd you come to the decision to sign with the Ticats? What was the difference maker? What was the reasoning for coming back?
Obviously, like just the town, just Hamilton, the fans. First of all, I mean, also my teammates. I saw a whole lot of people that were coming back this year, and it just made me maybe want to come back at the same time. Obviously, being surrounded by those guys and the run we had last year. Obviously, I'm not expecting to have the same team we had last year, but I think we have a team that can go on a good run again.
Hey, Sean, talking about that room that you're in, there's a couple other guys who signed back. Tell me what the chemistry is like in that backfield, man. There's dangerous people at all those spots.
There's definitely dangerous people with the different arsenals. I mean, what I like about this room is that obviously everybody knows at the running back spot, there's only one job. There's only one spot on the field most of the times if you're not rotating, obviously. But we're so supportive of each other. When we watch film, we're always giving each other keys on things we can improve, things we've done well at the same time. And it's just, we just come every week to compete. Obviously, camp is going to be very exciting, very competitive, but I think it's going to be in that way, but in a good sense.
How do you push each other to be better? And I asked that because last year the competition was tight as well across the field. How do you push each other to be better when you're competing for this starting running back job, but you're also teammates? What is that dynamic like?
Well, it starts with like an individually, we have to like keep each other accountable, like just ourselves. And then also it's trying not to let anything slide. Sometimes there's some great games with a lot of great plays, and then they can overshadow the plays that are not as good. But we focus on really hammering those down more than the good plays, so that those mistakes or those lesser plays aren't repeated again.
So this is the off season. I know guys are working on their game. What's something that you want to improve on from last year? What do you want to bring to the locker room when you get to camp for 2022?
Well, I definitely want to bring more speed. I know it was a little hard with the last 2 years with COVID and stuff, finding spots to work out. Obviously, it's not an excuse because there's always a way. But I know that for many people, myself, things were very different, you know. And I'm not going to repeat what everybody has been saying, but like it was a hard journey. And I think right now, having my eyes on having signed back and knowing what I want to do for next season, I'm already in the right direction to just bring my A game speed wise, and then bring the rest of my skills to the field.
What do you want to say to Ticats fans, Sean? What message do you have for fans who are watching this or listening to this, who are getting all amped up for 2022?
I mean, I'd say I'm very glad to be back. Can't wait to see you guys. Can't wait to see the stands all up in black. And let's give it another great run.
That's well said. Sean, congrats on the new deal, man. It's going to be great to see you back in the black and gold. I couldn't picture you in any other colors in the CFL, so I'm glad you're still with the good guys. Thanks for doing this. Congrats again, buddy. All right, now very pleased to be joined by a CFL All-Star defensive back, Jumal Rolle. That's got a nice ring to it. He is re-signed with the Ticats. And Jumal, congrats signing on the dotted line. How did you come to the decision to re-sign with the Tiger Cats?
I was just patiently waiting, and just waiting for my opportunity and just trying to maximize the opportunity where it presented itself. So I'm just glad to be back.
Hey, Rolle, so last year you had a really good season, turned out to be an all-star season for you, but where do you take it from here? What are your plans for this season in 2022, and how can you improve on your game and the performance you had last year?
The goal is to get everybody to be all-stars. That's a personal goal, something that I haven't seen before in the CFL. And the ultimate goal is, to finish and with the ring.
You guys were pretty close to almost being all-stars in that secondary room, in that defensive backs room. How much of, Tunde coming back, Carriel coming back, how much did that play into your factor to come back to Hamilton, knowing that you got to continue to build on something that was really, Des was showing flashes, like you get to continue to build on that. How big of a factor was that for you?
Coming back to a group of guys that I'm familiar with, definitely it helps in your process. Those guys knowing me behind the scenes and on the field as well. So just getting another chance to play with those guys, I'm sure it'll be, we can turn another page and we can grow a step further. And so just see what we can do this year with it.
As one of the guys who's had more experience playing at the pro level, you're one of the leaders in the locker room. So what is it like for you to embrace that role? Is it something that you relish? Is it something that you love? Is that a part of your identity? Do you think that's true that you're a leader?
I think I bring a lot of tangibles and things to the table where guys can, just kind of look at and follow and, turn it into their model or whatever. But I definitely I'm looking forward to being one of the older guys in the room and seeing what they can pick up off of me and seeing what I can learn from them as well. Because I'm still continue to try to learn from all the guys that come into the locker room and that come into the building. I'm still trying to learn everyone. So always going to be a student.
And that's, I mentioned Des Lawrence, but when you see a guy like Des step up or Stavros kind of come into the playoffs, like what do you make of that? And what does that kind of say about, everybody says next man up mentality, but it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to see it in practice.
Well, yeah, I think it goes into our daily preparation and just the culture in the building. Everyone is comfortable playing with each other. And so when we're out there interacting and actually grinding, those guys feel comfortable making plays and being themselves. And so that helps, them transfer their play onto the field. A guy that can be themselves as quickly as they can will help them, on the field transition.
Hey, so Coach Butler got a promotion to be a special teams coordinator. Talk to us a little bit about the energy that he brings to the room. You've been working with him for a couple of years.
Right. Man, shout out to CB, man, getting that promotion. I'm sure he'll still be hands-on with us, but he'll truly be missed for sure. I hope that he doesn't disappear. He doesn't ghost us for sure. But, no, he was tough. And, he cared about us truly, right? And so he cared about us as men, and he just pushed us, man. He held everybody accountable, and he didn't let anyone, cut corners. So getting that accountability from top down definitely helped. And so I'm sure he'll still hold us all accountable.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're not getting completely off the hook with Coach Butts. He is the assistant defensive backs coach heading into 2022. So don't worry, you won't get rid of him that easy. Just talk about the city of Hamilton. You've been here a few years now. I have to think that it's become a second home when you're here during the season. What is it about this city that you've come to embrace, that you've come to appreciate, not just as a CFL town, but as a place to live?
I embraced it for sure, but it's a raw town, and they love football. They love the Ticats. They're everything that you want in a fan. They're with us through thick and thin. And the crazy thing about it is that they have a lot of history, and so like even when you bump into Ticat fans in the community, they always bring up like the history and the tradition of what the Ticat family is about and the Ticat organization is about. So I think that's cool that you can learn from them as well. And, they're loving you.
Jumal, congrats on the new deal, man. It's great to see you back in the black and gold, and I can't wait to see how you top 2021 this upcoming season, man.
That's rock and roll. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. That is Jumal Rolle, who has re-signed with the Hamilton Ticats. Our thanks to Jumal Rolle for stopping by. In court, let's stick with the secondary, because the Ticats secondary was a huge part of their success in 2021, and a lot of guys coming back from last year.
Man, there's a lot of pieces that you can continue to count on. I'd say, the back end, you have to shore it up. You have to protect the family, keep the roof on, keep the top on. And they did a great job of that, almost better than anyone in the league, leading in so many statistical categories. And I think that, between Cariel Brooks, Jumal Rolle, Tunde Adeleke, those are names that you can hang your hat on. And in this East Division that's heating up, I think it's going to be important to have guys like that on the back end.
And, there are rumors. We don't know anything. We're not going to throw out any names, but you and I have both heard a name that Ticats fans could be excited about. And that's all we're going to say about it, because, we're not a show that deals in rumors. So we're not going to say, but again, I think there's something that if they can add a piece to their secondary, there's some good names out there floating around of guys who are free agents.
And at this point, it's not like you're doing a full surgery, right? You're just putting a cherry on top of that defense. There's, you got the 3 linebackers who played all games last year together. You've got a huge monster D line with some dogs up front in that middle. And, you put that cherry on the top by securing the back end with guys who are familiar and whoever else fits into those gaps to really make it a complete 12 on defense.
As the official podcast of the Hamilton Ticats, we, of course, will not be the ones scooping our own guys in case we hear anything. But what we've heard is just rumors. So let's just leave it at that. Coach Butts, before we bring him in here, your relationship with him, he's someone, I have to think you guys are dogs, right? You guys go way back. What's your relationship like with CB here?
Man, me and Coach Craig Butler, we go back further than most people even realize, from the times of me playing youth football and Brampton Bulldogs and him playing for the London Falcons, then going to the OUA, him at Western, me being a Laurier guy. And then, through our careers, we had a couple of times to go head to head when he was in Saskatchewan, and then we became teammates. So a guy who I have a deep respect for. I've seen him work. I've seen him make plays. It's great to watch him continue to thrive. And the team has really done well under his leadership, the defensive backs. So it's exciting to watch him continue to rise up and continue to grow and continue to add bricks to this foundation that's already been built.
And you mentioned it with Jumal. Jumal's not the loudest guy in the room. He's someone who lets his play lead by example. Same can be said for Tunde. Coach Butts has got enough energy for that entire secondary, right? What the energy that he brings to the meeting rooms, to the practice field, that is transferable. And you can really see it when you get the best out of the guys like he has.
Yeah. And a culture isn't something that just is created out of thin air. It's got to come from the top down. And as somebody who's been in that locker room, as somebody who's sat in those seats as a player, he understands, what it means to play for somebody who's truly showing you that they're giving their all to the game. You feel a little bit of guilt if your coach is giving his all and you're not. Right. So it's not about him yelling and screaming to get guys motivated. These are already self-starters. But when you've got a leader like Coach Butts back there, it's easy to show up because that he's coming early. He's staying late. He's paying the price. And that's the bar that he sets for his team.
And just the role, and we're going to be joined by Coach Butts here in just a couple seconds. So before we get him, just the role, special teams coordinator. I know it's a big job. It's a coordinator. It's not just a positional coach. You are a special teams coordinator. You got kicking, you got, coverage. There's a whole bunch of components. Why is Coach Butler the right fit for special teams coordinator?
Well, 1/3 of the game is the kicking game, whether it be the field goals, the punts, the punt returns, the kickoff returns, whatever it may be. In this Canadian game, you need to win in the kicking game. And, Coach Butler's had an opportunity to work alongside and play for some great coaches. And so being a student of the game and being somebody who's always developing his own skill set, I know he's going to be ready to step into this role. And it's something that he thrived in as a player as well. This guy, he used to run down there and stick his nose in there too. So it's nothing that he's unfamiliar with. And it'll be exciting to see him put his thumbprint on what's been a very potent Ticats special teams already.
All right, I'm very pleased now to be joined by the new special teams coordinator for the Hamilton Ticats, Coach Craig Butler, also assistant defensive backs coach. And Coach, congrats on the new role. Tell us how this all came about, this promotion for you.
Appreciate it, Louie and Court. It came about I guess it was kind of years in the making, right? Like, it's something that when you get into this business, that's kind of what you strive for, is constant kind of elevation and improvement in your own, in your own expertise. So, obviously very, very blessed, very privileged to be able to have this opportunity to be the special teams coordinator, Coach O and, everybody else in the organization, from Scott to Bob, to Matt Afnick, kind of have stuck with me and kind of given me an opportunity and believed in me since I was a player here in 2014. So I would say it's been a slow evolution to get to this place, but it's something that I'm completely ready for and extremely excited for all the challenges and, all the opportunities that are going to come along with it.
So most coaches get their first coordinator job on a struggling, rebuilding team, but you're stepping into a position where you've got some guys who know how to contribute, guys who are experienced and know how to play at a high level. So are you looking forward to having some veterans and being on a team that's positioned already to, put together some numbers, as opposed to rebuilding and starting from the ground up?
Yeah, absolutely, Courtney. It's being able to kind of step into a position as like this coordinator position and have guys that you already kind of have a bond with, that you already have a trust bond with, that know you, more importantly, as a person first, and kind of know what to expect when you walk into that meeting room day one. I think that's going to be huge. There's guys on that team that I played with, right? So not necessarily the biggest special teams, contributors, but still guys that they understand what the expectations are. They understand what you are as a person and kind of what you bring to a table, and then the veterans that we have, that's ultimately the goal, is to hand it off to them, not by day one, but eventually, throughout the season. It's, you want them to be holding each other accountable. You want them to be calling the plays out to each other. So to have veteran leadership like that, it's going to be huge for our team and, my personal development as well.
You mentioned the veteran leadership, but the one thing that stuck out to me last year was how young your special teams, your coverage teams was. The Baileys, the Declans, Mason, Ternowski. I mean, how impressed were you by a bunch of young players coming, removed from football for 2 years basically, and what you saw from them, and how do you expect them to build on what they did last year in this new season?
Yeah, it was outstanding to see those guys grow from week one of training camp to the Grey Cup, really, just to see them, expand their roles and expand their attributes as far as what they did. Obviously our scouting department brings in these guys, and they see that, we watch film as coaches, but they really do all the grinding hard work, and they see the ceiling of these guys and really what they can do. So, but it's up to the players always to execute. And a lot of those guys, they bought in, they had fun. That was the thing that you could see. They brought energy every day. And, guys like Nick Cross, guys like Stavros, guys like Bailey, as the season went on, they became more comfortable within themselves and, got out of their shell. And once I think you get a little more comfortable and you start having a little more fun, then football becomes a little bit easier. So those guys were able to do that, and the credits to them because they took the coaching. But then, for the next year for those guys and, the upcoming rookie class, it's about taking bigger strides and bigger steps and, ultimately completing, that goal that we're all looking for.
Coach, the special teams coordinator has a unique opportunity to deal with everybody on the roster, more or less, from top to bottom. And so that's an integral part of building the culture of the team. So tell us a little bit about the identity of these Ticats and how you want to help shape that culture that's brought so many cool stories to Hamilton, so many impact players to Hamilton because of that culture.
Yeah, obviously, special teams, I kind of have a personal connection. It's a part of pride for me, obviously, being drafted into this league and drafted as a guy who, was looked at as a special teams player right away, and you kind of got to find your way. So I'm taking exactly kind of what I took, how I acted as a player to the coaching room. That's, we're going to be smart. We're going to be tough, we're going to be explosive, right? To sum it up real quick, that's kind of what we're looking for. And, the culture that we've brought, that Coach O's kind of instilled throughout his years of being here, it's just about piggybacking off that, right? Making sure we're all on one chord and we're all preaching the same message. So, guys, I think what's cool about special teams is it's a constant evolution throughout the season. You have an identity, but it's, and this, Courtney, it's the players that really shape it, right? And it may change through the season because you may have an outlook, we all want to go 18-0, 14-0, whatever it's going to be, but things happen, things change. So I think having the adaptability and not being too rigid about what your identity is and knowing that it'll come over time. That's what's exciting, is being able to have an opportunity to get your hands in the dirt and see what happens. So we got the right players, we got the right other coaches on staff to support myself. So that's what's exciting, is just getting in there and getting to work.
And how amped up are you to still be a part of the DBs as the assistant DBs coach? Because obviously that was a huge part of last season and the success you had last season, and guys are coming back. How excited are you that that's still part of your repertoire here?
Yeah, it's great. It's great that I still have an opportunity to kind of, help Joaquin kind of transition into his full-time role. He's going to be outstanding for us, but it's always great to have some continuity there and for guys to kind of know what to expect, whether it's terminology, drills, whatever it is. They're probably not going to like it because they're probably going to be doing a lot more special teams drills than they thought they were doing in years past. But that's the cool thing about special teams is, people may not know how they can contribute, but just by them coming to work every day, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. And if there's guys on the fringe that are looking to make a spot, that are looking to find a way, you come do the punt cover drill, and right away you'll find out if this guy wants to play or not. So I'm excited to be with the DBs, in any capacity. I'm excited to be able to stand up in front of the room and talk to the old linemen. It's an exciting time for me. And, I'm just looking for like I said before, I'm looking for every opportunity and every challenge that comes with it, and I'll take it head on.
Yeah, and Joaquin Bradley, of course, the new DB's coach. Coach, congrats on the new role. I know you're going to do so well in it, like you've done everything so far in your career. Congrats again, my friend. Let's talk about it now, Court. The Ottawa Red Cats, the Ottawa Tiger Blacks. What are they? The Red Blacks. Oh, that's what they are. Sean Burke, the new general manager, is certainly making his mark on an Ottawa team that needed a kick in the pants, to be honest.
And I mean, that's what they brought him in to do. He's a guy who has a track record of putting together teams that can compete and, flexing his network as soon as he got to the city. It's only been a few weeks since he's been there, and he's managed to bring in a bunch of talented guys, whether that be Jeremiah, Jalen Acklin, Darius Sirocco, just to name some familiar faces, but also other guys from other teams going to Ottawa and I almost hazard to say making them an instant contender to be a serious team in the East again.
William Powell going back to Ottawa as well. That move kind of being I'm really happy for Jeremiah. I'm happy for Dane. I mentioned this on Ottawa radio yesterday, got called up. They wanted all the insights on Jeremiah. And this was really a win-win-win for everybody involved, for the Ticats to get Dane Evans as a proven leader, for Dane and Jeremiah, they both get to be starters after battling it out, for Ottawa, for the CFL. I mean, Ottawa being good, you've been in that building when it's rocking. I mean, that they're such a huge part of this league. Like, I think this is a win-win-win across the CFL, even if it makes the East more competitive, which I think is a great thing too.
And, traditionally over the last, however long you can count it, the West division has been the powerhouse, and the East has always been the question of, Are there going to be 3 teams that make the playoffs or 2 from the East? And I think what we're seeing is the potential to have that shift back over and have some really competitive teams. I know Toronto has also been the beneficiary of some ex-Ticats moving across to the other side of the QEW with another guy going over there who shall remain nameless. No, they got a pretty good D tackle, in the free agency. And it's looking like it's going to be a competitive East, but that's what you want, because you don't want anything handed to you. Not that this is pro football, but you don't want there to be any excuses. You want to play against the best. And that's how you truly prove to yourself that you are who you say you are when you go out and they kick that ball off.
Yeah, Boateng also signing with the Red Blacks, and I mean that team's going to be good. I kind of gave them a shot a little bit earlier with their 3 wins in the last 2 seasons, or 6 wins in their last 2 seasons, but they're looking like a good football team. And Paul Lapolice is a proven CFL coach, and we'll see. Should be fun. What else has caught your eye in free agency before we go here? Is there anything else in the last 24 hours that's jumped out at you? Because I mean, we mentioned the competitiveness in the East. What about the receivers getting some big paydays?
Are you reading my mind?
Sorry. Kenny Lawler has really just set the benchmark for all-star receivers payday. I mean, if I'm Braylon Addison tweeted about it himself. He said, yeah, man, get that bag. Like, you're just making the market for everybody else that much better. Between
Kenny Lawler and Duke Williams, these guys are definitely going to get what they're worth, man. And let's be honest, like, people show up in the stands to see 40-yard completions. They want to see dunks. They want to see those acrobatic catches and big plays, right? So that's what these guys provide. And across the league, there's, different playmakers in different situations. And it's just the makeup of that roster. Who has the space to accommodate somebody who demands that type of paycheck, right? So, credit to those guys for putting together the body of work that warrants that. But, even guys like Weineke, I believe he signed for, somewhere up above 150. And I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, man. This is guys going out there paying the price. They dedicate so much time to training for this stuff that, I mean, they deserve to get paid and compensated for the sacrifices that they're making. So it's good to see these guys getting paid, and hopefully that's a trend that continues.
Let's just recap what the Ticats have done today before we let you go. We can tell you, no one knew officially to announce today. I mean, if you were listening to this, I'm sure you've been on social media, you've seen the rumors. What we can tell you is that we can't announce anybody officially, but keep your eyes open on our social media. Keep your ears open on the Ticats Audio Network. They did get back Ted Laurent, which is huge. Ratio buster, such a huge part of that defensive line. They did get back Jumal Rolle re-signing today, and we heard from Jumal a little bit earlier. Overall, Ticats, how would you say they've done in free agency, my friend? Would you give them a grade here?
It's not over yet, but I'd say they made sure they plugged the holes in the boat so that we don't lose everything that we've built over the last so many years, right? You got those cornerstones, you've got those key guys that you can build around. And of course, like any locker room, there's going to be some changes, but I give them an A right now. And they still got room to bump it up to an A+.
All right. People are going to call us biased, but I'm going to give them an A too, because I mean, I said it at the start. If I had given you just a list of the guys that the Ticats had re-signed, and I told you that, Edmonton signed all these guys, you'd be looking at them as the Grey Cup favorites in 2022. So yes, maybe a little bias in our answers here, but the Ticats get an A from us. And like we said, it could get bumped to an A+. Court, I know you're a busy guy. You got your community work with the Ticats offices, so I appreciate you spending a couple of minutes here this afternoon getting to talk CFL Free Agency. It's been a lot of fun.
Man, anytime I get to talk a Ticat ball, I love it, so appreciate you.
All right, keep it locked to the Ticats Audio Network all this week for exclusive free agency content. Again, here on the Ticats Audio Network.